Okay, so this is a game called Nemesis Distress, and it's it's multiplayer. But it's kind of like an Alien Isolation. I think there might be a bit of Among Us, but it's essentially like a survival game with a single. Well, I'm not quite sure. Maybe multiple like alien AI. Um, Works in motion controls. It's 4.26, so most of the stuff in the framework works. The top half, the torso, is kind of like not proper sixed off, and we've seen that with a few other games like Necromunda, Deadlink, some other first-person games off the top of my head, where the torso is like not quite right, but still doesn't really affect gameplay too much. But the motion controls work just fine. D-pad. Performance in this tutorial section is pretty good, but later on in the video, the performance is not great. It has FSR2, which I realised was on by default, balanced. Probably is a good. There's probably like a sweet spot for settings that probably just take a bit of time to get to. But it seems like everything was working fine, other than the kind of torso and arms and kind of interactables. A demonologist does this as well. I'm trying to think of other games where the top half is like this. There's quite a lot of controls on this, and they're kind of bound to weird buttons. But it seems like there's quite a lot of remapping options here, so I think you'll probably be able to find like a good balance. And yeah, it seems like multiplayer will work fine. I mean, I wasn't prevented from creating a session, and it seems like you can invite people to. They do have another like a more like literal Among Us clone as well with the same brand. It has a lot of like space gadgets and like hiding, and apparently the aliens don't see. There's only sound. It's all about like crouching and like opening doors and stuff, like create sound and like get some run towards you. So yeah, I'm just kind of going through the tutorial, and I realised how complicated the buttons are, and the bindings are quite strange. Or not intuitive, so you probably want to like remap those in the in-game settings. I also turned on the temporal algorithm upscaler, and I'm not sure if it's not playing nice with FSR, which might be the reason for the performance issues later on. But the menus, the stick is like a kind of a pointer, so that looks good. I'm just kind of looking at the controls at the moment. Kind of wish the menu was more controller friendly. And it's interesting when you bring up your menu, your kind of character still is looking at their arm behind the like 2D UI of like the map and the inventory screen. This is like a lockpick thing, and I'm trying to figure out how to use it, and it ends up being that like left click is the right grip, which took me a while to realise what was what. See, I'm just chucking it against the wall. But the D-pad and stuff works fine. Like in the bottom right square, you can cycle between stuff. Like I'm doing there. And you can kind of see like the effect of sixed off's not quite right for that. The hands and things. Yeah, there's quite a few games that have this. So I mean, if we kind of figure out a fix, or there's some blueprint mod or something that fixes them, I mean, it might be nice to then go back to a lot of these and apply the same fix, because it all seems relatively systematic, that issue. If devs are watching this, it would be nice if the tutorial had the Xbox buttons. But it's nice to have a tutorial before being thrown into like a spooky game. Well, kind of spooky. This is kind of like not as scary, I don't think, as some of the haunted house stuff like Visage and Demonologist.
Our employees told us that all of the examined objects are blind and react only to high noise levels. When you encounter one of them, try not to create too many sounds that may alert the objects.
then full-on sprinting. So sprinting was weird. It was, or no, it was like used as like A and yeah, left trigger being right grip, and like left trigger's crouch in this, and then right trigger's like a whistle, which threw me off. So I think that like this is a lot of the gameplay loop is kind of like sneaking around a spaceship, picking up stuff, avoiding aliens. But I did see you can get guns and there's all kinds of different gadgets and stuff, so I'm not sure. And I don't know if like one of your co-op party can get infected. I mean, it seems like that other game seems like something like that, where it's kind of an Among Us type thing. Now this is where I realise I don't have a kick button. I'm pretty sure it's not bound to anything, so this is the kind of thing where you probably have to really think of what are the critical controls to playing a game, and make sure they're mapped.
With all the improvements and changes we implemented in our first big content patch.
Because I can't look in the settings now and I can't like see a mapping for it. And you can see there's like a lot of controls that there's just way too many buttons for a gamepad. So hopefully devs like this can kind of figure out a proper controller layout, because then it will be easily mapped to the VR ones. But these kind of like half implementations are slight pain. So I'll probably say this is like between works well, works okay. I mean it's fine. I like performance is okay. I mean it tanks a bit when I actually load up a level, but I think that's just a case of like picking the right settings. It's definitely playable. Like there's enough controls to map, I think, to do this, and it's online, so it's kind of in between. I'll probably put it down as it works well, because it ticks off a lot of the boxes of playability, and I think a lot of people would have fun if they tried it. Now, I've just done that tutorial and I've not really been paying attention, so I see a person with a gun in the image and I'm thinking, oh, I get a gun. Well, I guess this is where you will load in with your like party.
One of the dead Nemesis crew members carries a disc containing valuable data. We have to search the dead bodies all over.
So I can see like my performance isn't that great, so now I'm kind of thinking, okay, I'm all on Epic, so I'm like trialing FSR. It was alright. So I don't know if it's like certain sections of this map that are heavier than others, because it's just kind of like my first experience here. I'm just kind of looking to see the upscaling percentage I'm doing and like my actual resolution, and see if I can like tweak that a little bit. But yeah, I think with some experimentation you'll probably be able to find like the sweet spot, and it might be that you have to like turn on asynchronous spacewalk or something, but native stereo works fine in this, so should be no problem. I don't know if it's pausing the game while I'm in this menu, so I'm just kind of like thinking, oh, is the alien gonna grab me? And I'm just thinking, oh, what can I turn down, or what doesn't really make too much of a difference. Sometimes when I get these performance problems, I like wonder, oh, there's some games which would like, I mean, in earlier builds would like override the uncapped frame rate option. I remember every day life, whatever it's called, the Square Enix game. You had to definitely uncap it in the menu there for it to work, but that was an old build, so I'm not quite sure that's still the case. But generally, the uncapped frame rate should be fine. Just noticing there's little kind of like holes for aliens to crawl through. And I don't have a gun, I just have this like scanner thing. And I can see in the thing it's going crazy, the little detector, as I'm like playing settings. And I think an alien's just come in while I'm in the settings, or it's about to come in. Yep, there we go. And I think it's actually not noticed me, but I kind of start panicking and just start taking a run for it, hoping that I can just like get through a door and close it. Frame already starts to tank it, so I'm still in the middle of like playing with settings. Like, ooh, purple goo. I don't have a gun, I don't have anything, I don't know the kick button, and I'm dead. Anyway, this is